to be muted?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so I started recording, and then I am now going to admit all. Oh, good. We have a good amount coming in the Zoom. And then I'm going to do speaker view. So you're going to be highlighted when you start talking, MarVeena.
Okay.
And you could change your view to however you want it to be in your Zoom controls. And let's see. Awesome. Well, welcome, ladies. We have, oh, nice. It's good to see Lisa, Tammy, Gail, LaDonna, Julie joining on Zoom. And then I see that I'll check the Facebook group, but welcome everyone. I'm super excited to introduce you to MarVeena, who I just had the pleasure of really just meeting now. She was recommended to me by someone in a group. So I was looking for someone to come and share their wisdom on mediumship. And I checked out MarVeena's page and I just got a good vibe from her, and she loves horses. And I always love people who love horses, and she lives in Texas. I'll have her introduce herself and share a bit about her. And MarVeena, by the way, you're welcome to share ways that people can work with you or have sessions with you in your social channels. I can post that in the comments too while you're talking, so that you can have, a way to connect with the ladies here. They're a very special group.
All right.
All right. Without further ado, here you go, MarVeena. Thank you. Welcome.
Well, hello, everybody. I'm MarVeena Meek, and I've been practicing mediumship for at least 25 years, maybe a little bit longer. And I never really, as a young person, I never really had the intention that I want to be a medium when I grow up. I actually got started on a spiritual path with a near-death experience. And I'm going to tell you all right up front that you don't have to have a near-death experience in order to develop your psychic abilities or to learn to be a medium or to work as a medium. And that is one of the things that my teachers taught me, is that we can choose to learn through pleasure or to learn through pain. I kind of activated through pain, and I don't recommend that. And that's probably one of the things that I would recommend or suggest right up from the start, is to have your intentions as a cornerstone of your development. So for instance, what I did, what worked really good for me, is to daily reaffirm and I intend to activate my natural talents through pleasure and through beauty to the highest degree possible. And I think as you create that intention, that it brings to you people, helpful people, information, ideas, encouragement, inspiration, resources, maybe dreams or messages from your angels, your guides, and your teachers. And we are the ones that have to follow up and to take action on the ideas that we get, the encouragement that we get, and follow through. So we're the active part. We have to take action. And for me, what worked best is to have a very regular meditation practice. And it's not just any old meditation, but I like to work with hatha yoga breathing techniques called alternate breathing. And by a show of hands, how many are you familiar with alternate breathing?
You can raise your virtual hand if you know how to do that.
Yeah, that's okay. It's just, that is the meditation practice that is very targeted at oxygenating the organs in the brain that help you to perceive. And one of the things that my guides told me to tell you all before we get started is you are your very most important tool. Is your body, your whole energy mechanism. So you want to maintain this and to learn how to activate it and care for your body in the best way that you can, because it can help you to receive images, to perceive messages and ideas on all levels, and help you to communicate to ancestors, to loved ones, to guides on the other side of the veil. So the Hatha yoga breathing techniques are a way of bringing light into the pituitary gland, the pineal gland, and helping to marry those two, because there needs to be like a merger of the pineal to the pituitary gland, and then the activation of the medulla oblongata. And then you combine all of that with the kundalini, and that helps to fully awaken and activate your chakras and the spiritual gifts that go with those chakras. So meditation is one of the most important things to do. A regular, what I recommend to my apprentice students is to meditate at least 5 days a week, but not 7. And I just feel like you do need to have some downtime, because it's during that downtime that we kind of integrate the things that we've been learning. We also integrate the energy that we're taking in, because as you do these Hatha yoga breathing techniques, you're taking in a massive amount of high voltage spiritual energy. And I think it's through the downtime and also getting a really good solid 8 hours of sleep a night that we're able to integrate that, and we can make use of it. So meditation and on a regular practice. I was taught very old school in to meditate and to develop as a medium. My mediumship teacher was a graduate of a school. It's in Chesterfield, Indiana. It's an old time spiritualist community. It's really fascinating. And I'm not suggesting to you that that is the only way to do it. And I think that in this day and age that the energy is different, that it's a higher vibration, and we don't have to use those old school methods. But that was the way that I was taught to do mediumship. I was very fortunate, and I suggest, and I hope that you all have the opportunity to have groups in your area that you can attend, where you have a medium that can display mediumship, hopefully in a group setting. That is a really awesome way for you to be able to see someone practice, and it's kind of an easy way for you to kind of dip your toes in the water a little bit at a time, and kind of get a feel for how other mediums do their work. But it's not the only way, but that is one of the ways that I was able to learn. So my mediumship teacher was old school. So what that means from the Chesterfield, Indiana group is that she liked to what we call sit for spirit. And she did that in the dark. So she had a room in her house that she blacked out the curtains in the windows, and everybody sat on the floor. She just had a lot of cushions and pillows. There were some chairs, but we just sat in a circle, and turned off the lights. And so that was one of the things, the ways that she liked to practice mediumship. And that's one of the ways that I do it as well. Although you don't have to, you can do mediumship in the broad daylight. But the good thing about a darkened room is that the thing that that destroys energy, mediumship, the energy that you need to do mediumship is a lot of light. So that's why we sat in a dark room. When I have people over to my office to do a mediumship circle, I will turn off the lights in my office, and I'll have just like one little light on or a candle on. So that's another tool that I like to recommend that you have going when you do either your meditation or you have a practice session to sit for spirit, is to have a candle going. It is, it's a protective measure, and it is also it's a very primordial kind of, it helps us to get back to the essence of who we truly are at heart. That is another piece that I like to suggest, is that you have an intention with your work, know why you do what you do. And for me, my intention is to be a blessing to whoever it is that I am sitting with, and to bring through whatever information that can be a blessing to that person, whether it is a message from their mother or a message from their angel or a message from their dog that just died last week. So creating the intention to be a blessing is to me, that's a foundation point. And I think it helps you to have the courage to pull through the information and to give voice to the information. And I'm sure that that you all might have an idea of what I'm talking about with regards to your study as a medical intuitive, because it does take courage to speak what one of my teachers called was to speak the unspeakable. Sometimes that is the most powerful thing that that person could hear. So knowing why we do what we do is a tenet. So I suggest that you really go into your heart center and discern what is your goal with your development. And I feel like straight mediumship is also a very healing thing that has brought a ton of peace to a lot of people. So this can definitely be an enhancement to the work that you're already doing. I don't think it's strictly entertainment by any stretch of the imagination. So to me, the regular meditation practice is something that I recommend that you set a time for, a regular time every day, same time, same routine, same chair even. And I study feng shui, so I like to situate my chair so that I'm in one of my 4 lucky directions. And the direction for me is the area that streams in the wisdom code, so that you are in a position, the most favorable position, and it's going to be according to your birth date. And so that you can receive ideas and images or messages or symbolism or names or whatever it is that that person needs to hear, or that the spirit that is wanting to communicate to that person is wanting to relay to them. I always say when I'm getting ready to start a circle is that that I like to take the filter off of my mouth and not worry about what I'm going to say. I always know in my heart that I am intending to be a blessing to this person and to bring through messages that can be healing to them, that can be meaningful to them. So I know that I'm coming from my heart. And I think that can help you as well, is to know why you're doing what you're doing, and that you're always coming from your heart. I think that when you bring through whatever it is, whatever name that you might be feeling, whatever imagery, if you are bringing it through your heart center, that the person that you're sitting for, that they will receive it in their heart center. And you may not have a clue as to how it could be important to them or meaningful to them, and they may not either. But if it's coming from your heart, then there's probably something about that that is important. Another thing to remember is that when you do mediumship, that you're ideally you're going to get out of beta waking state of consciousness and at least go to alpha state of consciousness, which is where I am, and sometimes even down into deeper states of consciousness. And quite often you're the person that you're sitting with, that they might very likely go into a heightened state of consciousness as well. And I think that is a good thing, although sometimes when they are in an altered state or out of a regular beta state of consciousness, they may not connect the dots to the information that you're relaying. And you may, as your work with being a medical intuitive, you might already be familiar with that. But just trust that even if they don't get what it is that that you're bringing through, that there's something relevant about that, either that name or that symbol or whatever idea that you're getting. So I wanted to go back to the same time, same place, same chair. The old school mediumship teachers felt that it was important to imbue the room that you work in with spiritual energy, that that spiritualized energy will serve you. It'll help to enhance your own energy. So like, for instance, if you were coming into a mediumship session and you might feel like your energy is off, if you're the chair that you sit down in and the desk that you're sitting with and all of your tools and your room has seen a lot of spiritual work, that the energy is there, and it will help to it'll help to support you while you do your session. Old time mediums would often put on a what they would call a prayer shawl or a prayer blanket, and they did the same one every time they did a session. And again, that is it's wrapping yourself up.
I heard that. Was that a crash? Like something breaking?
Yes. I think that is a cat crash, a very naughty crash. That brings up another point, is to always set yourself up for success as best you can with regards to a quiet house, quiet animals, and which I thought I had, But you know what? We have to learn to be flexible. I really, I like things the way I like them because I feel like it supports me and helps me to be able to go into a heightened state of awareness and consciousness and just pull down those streams of energy, of ideas, of messages, of whatever it is. But life happens and we have to like go with it. And sometimes it's for a reason. And to help us remind ourselves that we can function even whenever circumstances are not the way we really want them. So as I was telling you about the prayer shawl, is that the old time mediums would wrap a shawl around them and or a blanket. And what I learned is to use a color that is a power color for you. And that's going to be different for everybody. To use like a quantum color is what we would say in feng shui. But a good one that is very protective for anybody would be a purple, a blue, or a red. Those are all very powerful, protective colors. And another one of my very influential teachers that I have, he always said that anything that you cherish and want to protect, to wrap it up in red. So a lot of my tools that I use, I'll wrap them up in like a red silk handkerchief or something like that. All right, so and another thing, I don't do this because my chair, I have to have a very comfortable chair, but some people will use a wooden chair because the energy develops over time and builds over time. And I've seen some tarot masters that had symbolism painted on their chairs, and they used wood chairs. But I have to have a very comfortable chair, so I don't have a wooden chair. I do, however, have a wood desk. And I want to tell you a really cool story that happened a long time ago. And this was in regards to the Reiki work that I did. And I feel like mediumship works really well with Reiki because it is a healing tool. And I also feel like the Reiki helps to activate the pituitary gland and the pineal gland in particular, and helps to enhance your psychic abilities. But while I was doing Reiki, I did every day. I didn't have clients at that time because I was brand new to the work, but I wanted to learn. And of course, one of the best ways to learn to do something is by practicing and doing it. And so I had several people that I knew possibly needed healing energy. So I would put their name on a piece of cardboard and like in a triangle, like that big. And I would put their name on it, and I did the Reiki symbols around their name. And I had about 22 or 3 cards, and I would turn them upside down. And every day I sat in my kitchen, and I had an old antique wooden table, and it wasn't, too big. It was like 4 foot by 4 foot. But I would randomly pick out 3 of those cards every day, and I would touch in, and I used my pendulum to ask for permission. Is it at this time, is it okay to send you healing energy? And if I got a yes, then I would proceed with the healing. One time in my practice, did I ever get a no? And I talked to the lady later on that night, and I knew her so real well, so I could ask her. And I told her, I checked in to see if you needed healing, and I felt like you did, but when I asked, you said no. And she said, well, I was driving in Dallas at that time of day, and I don't like to receive extra healing energy when I'm driving because it makes me sleepy, which was, I don't either. So it made sense But the cool thing that I wanted to tell you about this, one of the things that happened to me, I did this every day. I would sit at my kitchen table and I would do Reiki, and I put my hands down on the cart on the table and I channeled healing energy. I'm gonna have to yell at my dogs here in a minute. Sorry. Zevi, go lay down. Sorry. So anyhow, I would channel healing energy, the Reiki symbols into the card to the person, but the table was receiving a lot of that energy. And one day my table levitated, it came off the ground. I mean, it was really kind of scary, I've got to tell you. And but that is my medium teacher was a what you call a she was a mental medium, but she was also a phenomenon medium. And I feel like that the people that you gravitate to, while your natural gifts may they may be in some way aligned with your teachers, there's you may take yours in a little bit of a different direction. So as a rule, I don't do phenomenon mediumship. Most of the time, things don't move around me, although they have some, but it's never been my focus. My focus is mental mediumship. So receiving messages from loved ones, guides, teachers, angels, ancestors that that want to come through. But my mediumship teacher was very much into physical phenomena. She still is to this day, and it's pretty fun. It's really exciting. But there's a lot of different ways you can take your gifts. But as long as you have it in your heart to be a blessing and to use your highest gifts and to develop your natural gifts to the best that you can, I think that will pull to you the resources to do that. And you're the one that has to, though, take action on those resources. Some other tools that I use, I like to use the same incense every day. My favorite one, I don't know if you can see it. This is my favorite incense, but use whatever feels right to you. But I would definitely use a high vibrational incense, like a really good quality. I can't have a whole lot of it burning the whole time. So I'll light my incense and maybe take it around the room and then I snuff it out so that it's not getting too much fragrance in the room. Another thing that, another tool that was really helpful to me is an eye pillow, meditation pillow. And I like the one that is filled with lavender. And one of the things that I think was super important is after I did my active meditation with the alternate breathing, I would lay down and put my eye pillow on, and I had a little crystal. Oh, here it is. I would put a small crystal, and it's not too big, and I would put it like right on my third eye, and I would put my eye pillow on top of that so it would hold it down. And your goal is to block out all of the light so that no light comes in to your eyes. And then I would just do my best to take all of my awareness up into that crystal. And from that point, it was, sometimes I would go completely out of body. Other times I may go into a really deep trance, or I might go to sleep even. Quite often when we need to integrate high voltage energy, we will go to sleep in order to kind of let ourselves process that energy. But those are a couple of the tools that I used on a regular basis. I also do dowsing. So I have the dowsing rods, but I hardly ever use them in a mediumship session. And I use the pendulum as well to douse, but I hardly ever use that in a mediumship session. Again, your body is your best tool, and it is so it is just beyond our scope how powerful it is, and it totally has the ability to perceive information and energy and messages, and to bring that into your own matrix so that you can discern that. And that is going to be one of your challenges, is that discernment and following the trail of whatever you're being impressed with. But I think that you're definitely going to have an edge with regards to how you're already working with the healing work. But it's a very difficult theme, but for me to explain. But it's like you just feel like whenever a spirit comes in, you may see a image, and it might be vague or it might be very clear. You may get a sense of a relationship, a male relationship or a female relationship. Back in the day, the old spiritualist mediums would use your own physical body, and they would say, okay, if it comes in on the left side of your body, that is going to be a female that's related or connected to that person. If it comes in on the right side of your body, that's going to be a man in the family or a male figure that's connected to them. And they would even go so far as using the fingers to discern, like, which is it, a mother, is it a grandmother? But I don't do that. I just follow that trail of discernment to feel how close it is. Does it feel a relative, or does it feel like a friend or an acquaintance or a teacher or someone otherwise that is important to them? That's just one of those things that you have to practice. And that gives me one of the next things that I wanted to tell you are different ways that that you can kind of put this into practice, because that's where you really begin to learn the most. When I started out, I did a lot of parties, and Dallas is a huge party town as far as conventions and all kinds. People come here from all over the world, and they do parties to celebrate after their conventions. And so I was a party medium. Really, they mostly they would hire me to either do tarot cards or to do palm readings. So the tarot cards are excellent ways to see my camera here. But when I would do the parties and I would do either the tarot or the straight palm reading, I would get messages, and it was the worst circumstances that you could imagine. So you have party, you have a band, you have liquor, people are, they're not really there for anything serious or for anything spiritual. They're there to have a good time. But even though it was not the best circumstances, it was a really powerful training ground. It was a great training ground. I'm not really going to recommend it, but I have to say that it served me well, because if you can give messages while there's a full band playing beside you, then that's a trial by fire. But it really teaches you to tune in to that person and to focus. Zivi, go lay down. Go lay down. Sorry. I have dogs, horses, cats, kittens. Go lay down. I apologize, you all. But anyhow, it teaches you to follow a trail of energy and to focus. That's probably one of the best things that I learned about that. But also, I would have a line literally with 40 or 50 people in a line on a 4-hour party. And when you have that many people coming to you and you have that much interaction and experience, it really is a great teacher to help you, get in that zone and stream that energy. And you have so many people coming and going, like you connect and then you relay whatever you get, and then you disconnect and then move on. Psychic protection. I probably used everything over the years. I like to use turquoise or opals or rosy quartz or moonstones. I used to always have on, although I don't show it, I'm going to show it to you all, a medicine bag. And this medicine bag has a lot of mojo in there. It has a clipping from all of my fingernails, all of my toenails. It has saliva. It has a essence of all of my spirit animals. And I have like 8 of them. So it's got like a little bit of a snake skin, a little tiny bit of bear hair, all kinds of stuff that is in there. And this is a way of, it's like a miniature of you and the essence of you. And it has prayers of protection that are very ceremonially imbued into this. You don't have to do that, and I don't regularly do that anymore, but I did for probably 10, 15 years. I didn't go do anything with mediumship or spirituality or cards or palm reading without some type of protection. But I do feel now that I have learned over time that through intending a high vibration around me and creating the intention of strong shields of protection around me while I do my work, that serves me better now. Okay, there's so much to talk about. And
wait, hold on. Let's pause a second.
Okay, let me get a drink.
Yeah, this is great. So does anyone have any questions so far? I know there's been a lot. I do have a question because you talked about the feng shui part and sitting so that you're in a wisdom position and it's based on your birth date.
Right.
Is that something we can find out online how to do? Because I'm very curious about that.
Well, what you can do is send me your, my email is theghostqueen@gmail.com. So just send me a photograph of yourself if you can, and your name and your birthday, and I will send you your 4 directions, your 4 lucky directions.
Oh, that's so nice. So theghostqueen@gmail.com.
Right. And
Okay.
I do need the year though. And so that way I can, because it's all according to your astrological influences. But I don't want you to feel like that if you can't sit in your lucky direction, that that your mediumship is going to suck, because that's not necessarily the case.
Sure, but
I
I
think it
definitely,
helps.
yeah, I think it helps because I've noticed because, I'm a nomad. Every energy of every place we go is so different. And I noticed there's places where it's kind of a challenge for me to get like a clear reception, like there's something going on in either the place we're staying or whatever. So I go through a ritual of like clearing it, or maybe it could be a directional thing. So I would, something in the feng shui or the layout of the house, that we're staying in. So that's why I'm very curious because of how we move around so much.
That's a good point, is that anchoring and setting a container for your mediumship, I feel like is very important to have a container. And we do that through our intention and visualization, visualizing a strong vibration around your room. If I were going to do, say, a mediumship group in Dallas, while I'm driving over there, I ask my angels, thank you, angels, for setting a high vibration around this room. I also do a clearing. I think that is a hugely important thing, because I don't want to go into a house with entities and icky stuff. So I will thank you, angels, for setting a high vibration of love and light around this room that I'm doing my circle at tonight. And thank you for backing out of this space all negative entities, energies, germs, virus, disease, sadness, enemy patterning, whatever icky that you worry about or that you can think about. I would create the intention that it be backed out of that space. And then I create the intention that that room be infused with the golden white light of whatever. I like to infuse it with the golden white light of love. But a blue color would work really well. The Archangel Michael with the robes of blue, or Archangel Mary, that would also work. But okay, so yeah, protection, psychic protection is important, because I've seen icky stuff. I'm a show me girl, and it's like I want to see something before I really believe it. But I've seen a lot of stuff, so there's stuff out there. So you want to take steps to protect yourself from their stuff. And should you see that they have something, not every medium and not every healer will ever see that. When I was coming up through my education as a Reiki master, my Reiki teachers never said one word about entities. And that's probably like one of the first things that I saw when I started my practice, and I had somebody to work on it, and I was doing my thing, and all of a sudden I saw an entity and an attachment, and I'm like, what the heck is that? So yeah, it's but my teachers, their path was a little bit different than mine, and mine, a lot of my work over the years has been intensely with clearing negative stuff that people have picked up in this lifetime, and sometimes in other lifetimes, like entities and negative energy. So, but everybody that intends to develop mediumship, their paths are going to be a little bit different. And that's where we want to just hold that space in our heart that we intend to develop our natural gifts to the highest and best, and to walk in our soul mission. I think when you hold those things in your heart, that you're just setting yourself up to positioning yourself to do that. rather than like, okay, I want to do it exactly the way Teresa Caputo does mediumship. And so I don't recommend that you follow, someone else to be just like them, but to know I'm bringing to the table a little bit of this and that, and together I can weave together maybe a way for you to heal and to come to whatever it is that you need to do to heal and to activate your own higher mission. So I think those are all important things. Another thing I wanted to add really quick is I always recommend setting a time for your session. So if you for instance, you're talking to your cousin and you're like, yes, I'm wanting to, work and develop my mediumship skills. Would you like to do a session and let me experiment with you? And I always set a time. And I think having a container of time is I think it's an important thing, because it's like if you say, I have 30 minutes to, do some mediumship work, that your guides, angels, and teachers and their guides, angels, and teachers and their ancestors or loved ones, it's like they work within that container of time. Whereas if you don't set a container of time, I think it just gets too rambling and willy-nilly. I don't know. That's one of my things is to set a container of time, and I am flexible. Like if we, if my 30-minute buzzer goes off and I still have some things that I feel like are really important to say, then I'm going to go ahead and say them. And sometimes that last thing is like the epiphany of the whole, chat. So, but I do feel like it's important to have a container of time and to intend protection around you and them. And I also include any of the living beings who are in your home. So I have a prayer before I do a mediumship event, and I'm going to just share it with you so you'll have an idea. But it's very simple and very short. Divine creator, divine creator, divine creator, divine archangels, divine archangels, divine archangels, the personal guides, teachers, and angels for myself and for Ruby. I pray for access in truth and in purity with protection to the Akashic records on behalf of Ruby, for information today that will be helpful and useful and healing to her. I call upon her loved ones on the other side of the veil, her ancestors, angels, guides, and teachers to step forward and to bring in messages that have relevance to her soul path with evidence that she might be able to recognize. And I ask that Jesus, the Christed One, be a guide for my session to take place at the highest soul level of all parties concerned. And so be it, and so it is, and so it shall continue to be. So to me, that is it covers a lot of bases. It sets protection around you. We're sending out our invitation. Like, I don't ever say, if there are any spirits that want to talk, come on in. I never say that. I mean, like, if you're going to have a party, you have an invitation list. You're not going to just throw open the doors and say, any of you yahoos that want to come on in. Be more discerning about who you let into your space. And so that's why I make that declaration of ancestors of light who love us on the fifth dimension or higher. And that intending, it helps to give me confidence that I can go into an altered state of consciousness safely, and that I'm not going to, suffer or open myself up to a psychic attack. which has happened very rarely, but it has happened. And that's why I have learned over the years to, be very meticulous with your intending and just, set the stage, set yourself up for success and protection as best that you can. When I do my work, I do my very best to not book over 3 readings a day. And that is protecting my energy. And there's been several times back whenever I was getting my career going that I just felt like I had to take whatever came that day. And I've done a lot of events where I would go to somebody's town and I would just do 3 straight days of 8 or 9 hours of readings. And I always suffered as a result of that with I always call it like your psychic wires are fried. And I would have to, go home and sleep for 2 or 3 days to heal. So I learned the hard way. So I think it's good for you all to understand the value of setting strong boundaries around your gift and protecting your vessel as best that you can, practicing the ideas of right life, right thoughts, right action, clear, pure water, as much high vibrational food as you can, and doing your best to, keep good thoughts. And when you have icky thoughts, cancel, clear, delete, fill with love. That way your energy field can support your work. But I do try to limit myself to no more than 3 readings a day or 3 clearings a day as like a protection for myself. But you will calibrate yourself and you will know, and you'll probably learn the hard way, just like I did, like what happens whenever you overdo it. Another thing that I wanted to, I don't have my smudge. Okay. Well, another thing that I wanted to share with you are some more of my tools that I think are really good that I use a lot. And one of them is a smudge. I'm gonna have to get out of the shot here a second. I'll be right back. Okay. So I use a sage, a smudge, and my smudge mixture is a equal amounts of lavender, of cedar, of sweetgrass, and of white desert sage. Those all of those components I just cut up and I put in this, have a container that has a lid, so that way you can snuff it out, and never put your container down on a nice wood surface. Always have a something like a coaster to set it down on, so that way you don't burn your wood surface or burn the carpet. I've done all of the above over the years. But this mixture of smudge is the cedar is the protective quality in there. The sage helps to bring clarity. The lavender and the sweetgrass are they're really high frequencies, and they elevate the energy of the room for the beauty and for the higher vibrational beings to be able to come in and interact with you, so that you can maybe get messages from master teachers or guides or angelic spirits. So I use that whole combination. And like when I do, a lot of times I will throw my cards, but I don't necessarily read them, but they make a template of energy, and I read that template of energy. But I will always run my cards before and after over the smoke. And I will run the smoke through my office before I do a session for somebody. And then after they leave, I will smoke it again. And so that is, that helps to like recalibrate your room. And if they had some particular sadness or whatever, that you break up that negative energy and move it on so that it's not lingering in your space, because you don't want to have your next client come in and have some, yucky energy left over from another one. So I use my sage, cedar, sweetgrass, and lavender are my favorite healing protocol. And I also use a lavender spray to just shifts the energy of the room and helps to kind of sweeten it up and elevate it so that it makes it easier for us to get ourselves out of beta waking state of consciousness, at least up into an alpha state of consciousness or deeper. And that's where we're way more able to use our higher gifts and to discern whatever messages or whatever is coming from that person that is sitting down for you. Another thing that I think is good is to have that intention that the messages are coming through to be a blessing for that person. So that way I know and they know that any of the information that I bring through, it's not for me, it is somehow intended to help them to heal or to position themselves to move forward towards their soul's mission, to their path. And I think that is important too. All right. Did you have another question?
Anybody have questions on any of that? Lots of really great information. I just want to make sure, real fast, MarVeena, Julie asked if she emails you, it's the picture, birthday,
And
your name.
Right.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? You're all so quiet. Lisa, do you have a question? Oh, maybe not.
Nicole?
Yeah, there you go, LaDonna. Yes.
It was very awesome. My daughter for Mother's Day gave me an eye mask that is lavender, just exactly like what she was sharing. It was like, wow, that's my spiritual daughter. And it was really cool. I haven't tried it yet, but I definitely want to try it now.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. I wanted to tell you really quick, the meditation, the way I like to use the alternate breathing, it is so powerful, and it really helps to get a lot of oxygen into the organs in the brain and helps to activate them. And it's an awkward meditation, but if you just persevere at it, it will pay off in spades. But what I recommend that you do is that you start out with like a few sets of it, like maybe say 5 complete sets of the meditation, and then gradually pull yourself up to, I really think no more than 20 sets. And so I would say 1 set, and the reason they call it alternate breathing is you're taking the oxygen in through different sides of your nose. So you're alternating from the left side to the right side and back and forth. And it is, so I count with this hand, with one hand. So I'll do like 1 and then to 5 or whatever. And then I use my other hand to actually coordinate. And so you just use your thumb and your finger, and I'm not going to do it so I can still talk, but I'm going to kind of show you. So you just start with your thumb on the right side of your nostril and just gently press the right side of your nose. and you want to visualize white light and coming into the the left side, which that side of your nostril is open. And then you count, there's different counts, but I count to 8. So just count to 8, and then you pinch your nose with your index finger and your thumb. And then you bring that light up into your third eye. So you breathe in, inhale on 8, and then you pinch your nose, and then you are holding your breath to a count of 8. And then you open the right thumb and the right side of your nostril. You exhale to a count of 8, and then you coast. And that's where you're suspended, like you're not breathing, you're not holding your breath, you're just kind of in a suspension state to a count of 8. And then you inhale on the right side, take the breath in with the white light up to the third eye, count to 8, and then pinch your nose. And then you open your index finger and exhale and count to 8. And then you're back to that point of suspension. You count to 8. So that whole progression is 1 set. And man, I get altered just telling you all about that. I'm like,
it's powerful breathing. Yes, we've talked about
yes,
that type of breathing, and but you added a nice twist on imagining the light coming in. So that's a cool add-on we can all try and experiment with, of like bringing in either like that universal consciousness energy, whatever. I tend to use a certain frequency for my stuff, but everyone has their own like stuff, way they like to do it. But I love that. That's a really cool
the
technique.
light is a huge factor in that. It's a huge activating factor. And if you do like 5 sets of those, and over say a month, develop up to doing 20 sets. And then after you do this meditation, you're going to be really buzzed. And you can do your meditation laying down on your back or sitting up. I like to do mine laying down, but you can do whatever. And then after you do that, you do your alternate breathing, take your crystal, put it right on your third eye, take your eye pillow and put it over your eyes, and then give yourself, I like to give myself an hour. I know that's a luxury, but give yourself some time to assimilate that high voltage energy that you just took in. And I will tell you that this will be the most powerful part of your meditation. I just don't even have words that I can explain how exciting and how powerful it can be. Not every time that you do this is going to be as rich or as exciting or meaningful, but it will always be a way that you are honing this tool of yours, you're refining it, you're activating it, you're also clearing anything that might be keeping you from developing your gifts. But it's very simple, but a lot of times simple is powerful. And it is, it doesn't have to be a big fancy woo-woo, you know.
I agree. We love simple here.
Yeah, but it's powerful.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing all that. This is just marvelous.
Yeah. So how are we on time?
Yeah, we're a little over an hour. A lot of amount of info. Everyone's like, wow, my head's full, so much info. Thank you. Amazing amount of info. I mean, I think I feel complete, unless there was anything really important you had to share with us, MarVeena.
Okay, I'll give you a couple of other quick practices that help you. Anytime that you have a name that's like fresh on your mind, that say for instance, I just talked to my sister Lisa, and then a client comes over and excuse me. So if that client has like a relative in the spirit world, or someone that has a name like Lisa, because I had just talked to her, I sorry, I have it kind of close, and it's easy to bring it out. Whereas if she wanted to communicate to her grandmother, Ethelene, that might be a much harder name for me to just spit out. It's certainly possible, but it might be harder. One of the meditations that I also have done over time, and I like to do this one, like like whenever I'm driving to, say, a reading, is to do what I call the baby name game. And so, for instance, you start at the top of the alphabet with A, and think about every female name that you've ever heard of that starts with A: Anna, Annabelle, Alice, etc. Every male name, and just go down the alphabet. And it is just a way of kind of familiarizing yourself. And so when, like, if you get to your circle and you have, like, say 20 or 30 people in a circle, and you've got 2 hours to do a message for all of those, to give everybody a message, it just helps to kind of calibrate you so that names are close, and it's not so hard to connect the dots, like to discern the energy, and then a name that they might be trying to impress you to say. And I always think it's good to tell my people, we'll play the sounds like game. So if I say a name like Terry, and you don't have Terry, but you have a Gary or a Larry, or a name that's similar, then let me know that you have a person that sounds like that name, because I don't want a person to lose a message from a loved one because I dropped the J, and it's really not me, it's them. It's the ancestors, their job to project, and it is the medium's job to receive. And some of our ancestors are really good about projecting, who they are, what they're about, what their message is, what they want to say. And other ancestors or loved ones might have a huge desire to communicate from beyond the veil, but not be particularly good about being able to formulate their ideas and push them through the veil in a way that we can discern them. So that was one thing that it's a good way to practice, but there's a lot of ways that you can practice. And I just feel like if it's important to you, that that to have the courage that when, say, you're talking to someone and you're minding your own business, and all of a sudden you just hear a name, or you see an image, or you feel compelled to say, I just feel your grandmother's spirit around. Have the courage to speak the unspeakable, because that might be like the most important thing that can help that person to maybe move past some grief, or move past a piece of business that they're having a hard time with. And I feel like the more that each one of us can heal, can do the clearing work that's possible, and the healing work, and the activating of our higher gifts, that we all benefit from that. All of us do. So wow, it's so hard to talk about this in a short time. There's so much information.
You did a great job, and I love
all.
it. Yeah, no, you did fabulous. I'm walking away with some great information. I know everyone else is. I encourage everyone to reach out to MarVeena if you do want a session. I'll put her website and everything in the group, because I think I put it in the the live stream here. Yeah, I put her website here, and then, yeah, was wonderful. Thank you so much. And if anyone does have any questions, you can ask them now before we go. Julie says, thank you so much. That was awesome. So much info, so much great info
Thanks,
shared.
Yeah. Well, thank you all. It's exciting to meet you across time and space. Namaste.
Yes, so great. We can all connect like this. So thank you for your time, MarVeena. I was really like, what a lovely, interesting way we connected through the social, realm, and you came to us. So thank you. We really appreciate you.
All righty. All right.
Okay. Take care, my dear.
All right. Take care.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.